everybody. Jeremy from Tested here at GDC 2019, and I just stepped out of the Oculus event where I got to try a number of games. Two of them I wanted to talk about right now. The first, yes, we have Beat Saber for the Oculus Quest. This is something that a lot of us kind of thought might be coming, but now it's confirmed. There was some cute winking going on behind the scenes on Twitter and elsewhere from the developers up until now. We all had our fingers crossed. Yes, what many people consider the killer app for VR is going to be on Quest at launch. So that is Beat Saber as you know it. There will be some caveats. Number one, the high scoreboard for now is going to be unique from platform to platform. And so if you got a high score on Rift or anywhere else, you're going to be setting that again on Quest. However, they are working towards a consistent, all-encompassing scoreboard system internally that they'll use throughout their ecosystem of all the devices. Also, it is, of course, now tetherless. How does that affect the gameplay? Maybe not at all. Maybe you'll feel more free. I'll be curious to spend more time with it to see how it feels. I can tell you that it's as liberating as you think it is, and the frame rate is, they hit it. It is full 72 hertz, and it is Beat Saber as you know it. I mean, there's not much to say about it other than say they did it. They brought Beat Saber down to Quest, and it doesn't seem to me that the graphics have been sacrificed in any way, shape, or form. It just looks right, it feels right, and we're all glad to see it. Game number 2, Journey of the Gods by Turtle Rock Studios. You know them from The Well on Oculus Go and on Gear VR, as well as Face Your Fears. This is the Zelda-inspired game, I should say, that Nate Mitchell teased in an email a month or so ago. This is going to launch on Quest and Rift, and it's a really interesting kind of game. You play a lot of the game, it seems like most of the game down below, as a human with a crossbow or a sword and shield. Or you can transform yourself into your god mode, and you can go into sort of a black and white style universe where everything is small and you can do now new things as a god. I got a chance to stand up and talk to Chloe, their producer, and let's see what she had to say.
It's an action-adventure game, and the main part is playing as a human being where you have a sword and a shield, you have a crossbow. It's that typical kind of first-person combat experience. But then you can also enter what we call god form, where lights swirl around you and you kind of grow and the world shrinks away a little bit. And you have these different powers that you can use to influence your environment. You can teleport players like NPCs around. You can shoot lightning at enemies. You can slow time down. There's a whole bunch of different tools that you acquire throughout the course of the game. And those are your tools for puzzle solving, for combat, and just generally exploring your environment.
So at the end of this experience, I got, I guess, the lightning,
yes,
which is more of a hurling kind of exercise, where I grab the lightning from this guy and I hurl it down. That's only when I'm in god form. So when I'm in god form, I seem to take on a different appearance as well. Can you explain what that means? Am I only more powerful, or am I a different type of person, different type of being?
We went back and forth on this a lot while we were in development, and we found that originally you could kind of pick up your own character and move it around, but there were a lot of issues with that, and it didn't quite feel right. So what we wanted to imply to the player is that when you enter god form, it's your character being imbued with the spirit of these gods that you encounter throughout, and they've shared their powers with you because you're the chosen one, and it's your job to save the world, basically. There's this huge void moon that's coming in, and it's eclipsing the sun and bringing with it all of these sort of purple beasties that you have to defeat. So when you go into god form, it's supposed to give you that sense of this is powerful, this is cool, I'm getting better, I'm growing, I'm evolving, and I have to protect these people. And you have this whole village area that you get to know the NPCs, these characters that give you upgrades and help you, and they all have their own personalities, and you have to rescue them at some point. So it's you really want to get invested, but we made it sure that as cool as god form feels, it's really satisfying to play as a human as well.
It seems like most of the game is played as a human, at least from my experience in this demo. Do my abilities evolve in the human form as well, or am I with the sword and the shield and the crossbow, and that's what I've got for the whole game?
Yeah, so The weapons remain the same, but you can upgrade them. So as you collect pieces of swords in-game, you can update it so that you get a longer sword and you can reach things that are further away. But then at the next stage, you get a sword projectile, so you can kind of slash towards enemies and it'll cut through them at a distance, which feels really cool. And then the crossbow, I almost said slingshot, which used to be our weapon. But our crossbow, you can upgrade it so that you can carry more ammo, so you only have to recharge every 5 shots.
So that's interesting. With the crossbow, there's the downside of using it is you lose your shield. That's only there when you're sword and shield. You choose to do the crossbow, you no longer have that deflection ability, but you use your other hand to reload the device.
Yes.
Is part of the game, was I playing it right? You couldn't see what I saw, but I was constantly switching between the two in order to get the shield and back to the crossbow.
Yeah, we wanted to make sure that we were constructing the game and the fights and the different enemy types in a way that players had to choose which made sense. You know, we wanted a little bit more kind of strategy to when you're using your sword and shield, and like I find that I strafe a lot more, or I'll use cover that's already in the world when I've got my crossbow out. And we also didn't want people to be living in God mode. So you have that ability feather with belief, and those are those little glowing orbs that you collect in the world, and as you're in God mode, those like that depletes. So you can't be in there forever. You do have to go back to human form, but we wanted to make it conscious and strategic when you use different tools that you have.
Does time continue to transpire when you're in God mode?
Yes, it does. And it didn't used to, and we found that it kind of put a damper on the pacing of the game. So I think it does slow just a little bit. But yeah, everything's still happening, and the enemies that were running towards you when you're a human will run away from you when you're in God mode, because you've become this, terrifying, powerful creature, and they're like, oh no!
So when I do become God mode, my human is no longer in the world as a human. I have actually become large?
Yes, yeah. And then it's kind of a foreshadowing of what happens throughout the game, like as you acquire more and more powers, and the drama and the storyline continues, the stakes get higher and higher, and eventually you have to, claim your right as the chosen one and really strike that final blow against the dark, scary thing.
It's just a regular Friday for me. So this is a lot of fun. We're looking forward to playing more of it. Is it going to be a launch title on Quest?
Yes.
Excellent.
I'm pretty sure I can say that because we're going to be preloaded on the device, this demo. And then, of course, the full game will be available when the Quest launches.
Very cool. How long is the experience? I know it's hard to say because you got fast players and slow players, but what's the kind of the average?
I mean, we're kind of saying 4 to 6 hours for people for first-time playthrough, just because, we know some people are very exploratory, and that's more about what the experience, and we wanted to cater to those players as well, give them those little kind of nooks and crannies to go and explore, but also some people are much more focused on getting to the objective and the combat, so for them it would be more of a 3 or 4 hour experience, and then, there's some wiggle room there.
Very cool. Thanks very much, Chloe. We wish you guys the best of luck.
Thank you so much. We're really excited.
Can't wait to play more of Journey of the Gods and see what type of abilities you have as a god as the game progresses. Throwing lightning was really all that I got to do. That was fun. I did manage to lift and push down some trees. Not as fun, but that is the first power that you get, and granted, that's more of a strategic decision. You lift those trees and put them back down in order to create defile, cover for yourself back as a human. So I'm sure that is a skill that you develop yourself as a player. The graphics were impressive. This is a Quest game, remember, and most of the games that we've seen on Go, have been limited, and this does reflect that. But the effects that they do, I think they've used the technology very smartly, so that a lot of the magical effects and the feathers and the way that they grow on your hand, it's all very well done. I think this is probably one of the best Quest titles that I've seen. And to be clear, it is also coming to Rift, so I expect it to look even better on the PC. So here we go. We're going to start our whole GDC adventure now and see titles from other companies, and can't wait to relay those to you guys later this week, maybe early next.